Welcome, beautiful souls. This is a collective reading. I'm Regina from Pacific Tarot, and I'm reading right in the wake of the new moon in Gemini that occurred last night, on where I'm located on the world. And so there is this profound energy that is very unique for a new moon that I'm tapping into. And this unique energy speaks about clearing the path for what is about to burst forth. And this bursting forth is a result of having done a lot of healing work, a lot of review of the past, re-experiencing past events that you may have thought that were long forgotten, and understanding those lessons from a very different vantage point than perhaps you saw them in the past. I do think many of you that I'm speaking to have been being brutally honest with yourself about your experiences of heartache, betrayal, rejection, exclusion, failure, because I think you've been telling yourself something of a hero's narrative around having suffered through the storms and adversity of life and relationships in a way that allows you to move through without any real responsibility for your part in those failures, disappointments, or obstacles that you were challenged to get through. So that's some of the energy I'm feeling right now, and this reading is intended to be exactly as guided by Spirit. I've laid out a few cards. I'll clarify these with another tarot deck and pull a final oracle at the end. So I pulled from the archetypes, the wild unknown, the eternal child. And I don't think I've ever pulled this before. And I'm going to read from the guidebook. The eternal child is also known as the inner child. The eternal child is connected to the timeless, ageless, and infinite aspects of life. It's radiant and fearless and seeks joy above all else and at any cost. It struggles being bound to an aging body with physical limitations in a world that demands attention to detail and logistics. The eternal child wants to nix all rules and responsibilities and go beyond what others say is possible. It wants to return with plenty of friends to the land of the free, where divine wine and creativity pour from the earth and sky. We all want to sip from the well of eternal youth. The inner child glimmers. It reminds us of what is possible and what is magical about this precious life. The archetype is so spirited that when its appetite for life isn't satisfied, it seeks spirits and substance elsewhere. The eternal child struggles with addictions of all varieties. And finally, celebrity culture is based heavily on this archetype, as is the phrase, live hard, die young, and the series of artists and musicians who died at 27. The mention of the number 27 brings in the planet of Saturn, which revolves around the zodiac every 27 and a half years. And the month, a moon, is completed in 27 and a half days, roughly. Now, for those women that have mensed, this is an amazing and very useful fact that guides and determines your biology. But this is a way of looking at how time evolves. The Saturn cycles are known as stages of life, so the Saturn return, the 2, or for some that are very lucky, the 3, but mostly for most people, there are 2 significant Saturn returns in a lifetime, and they bound how we socially determine when childhood begins and ends. So Saturn is about the structure and the form that I believe the eternal child is railing against in its seeking of other playmates. In other words, the child longs for others like themselves who can enjoy the world on their terms, seeking joy at any cost. And clarified by the abundance card, I am a limitless being, and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. I think this speaks more to the idea of wanting whatever you want and pursuing that. And this also speaks a bit to the idea of substance abuse, right? If a little is good, then a lot is better. And for those who have struggled with substance abuse or addiction, this is very seductive. The idea that you just want to feel good all the time or feel better all the time is very seductive, and it's actually a quite um, uh, a chained and bound approach, right? This does not lead to freedom or the land of the free. This leads to a variety of versions of hell. So there's something that's going on here between this idea of reconnecting with this sense of limitlessness and understanding that joy is central to our experience on the planet. I'm going to look at the present. The sun. Wow. So the sun in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, as most of you know, has a child riding on a horseback. A naked child, banner flying, has perhaps jumped over a wall. So this idea of limitlessness is pictured in the card, but this is about joy, pleasure, and happiness. This is, for most, this is not a long-term happiness. This is a state of being that we achieve, sometimes fleetingly. It's usually temporary, and we don't stay children forever. For most of us, this time has flown by far too quickly, and most of our lives are spent as full-grown adults. And so the idea of joy, getting back to what it felt like to experience the world in joy, why many of us enjoy children for their ability to laugh, to play, to hang out with their playmates and just live in the world or their worlds with complete abandon, with complete freedom. I'm being reminded of the secret languages and the make-believe worlds and ways that children continue to construct this sense of private world, their own world, or the world as they see it. So this is coming up. Like, is there a language that you're finding yourself drawn to that expresses something that is difficult to express as an adult? This kind of joy, this kind of abandon, this kind of freedom that is generally frowned upon. And even as celebrity culture epitomizes perhaps our belief in the value of the eternal child, there is a lot of judgment against that, or mostly about that, which is how we allow celebrities to picture something that we believe is actually unattainable. In the past, the Six of Cups. This is telling me that you have really reconnected with that thing that gave you a natural joy or a natural activity that you were able to exercise throughout your life. This is not your first contemplation of joy or pleasure. Joy and pleasure are something that you have reconsidered over and over again in the past. You may have had old friends reconnect with you. Depending on your age, you may have been to reunions or abstain from going to reunions of a variety of sorts, because this idea of going back, or what could possibly be of value in going back, feels indulgent. It feels superfluous. It feels, for many of us, a reminder of how we didn't fit in, what oddballs we were. But beyond that, I think there is value in that revisiting. And I think many of you have revisited. And you've also been reconnected with by those from your past, old relationships, old loves, old opportunities, people that knew you when, that have considered you, them, and or your relationship in the past. I think for many of you, you have released that imagination that the past was better, that those sweet memories are anything but memories, and that for many of you, despite the profound love and connection that may have existed in the past between you and others, or in a particular industry or activity or profession where that you felt born to, you've really released those illusions that anything was better than. You actually realize there was a cost that you paid for the kind of abandonment connection that you experienced. In the future, the Ace of Cups. Well, this very much is about opening yourself up to not the old way of love, not that you're abandoning any soul bonds or connections, but you yourself have changed. You yourself have prioritized the idea of limitlessness, that there is still potential, no matter where you are in your life, for you to extract more, to gain more joy, more love from your life. And you understand that begins with you, and you have changed. You are opening yourself up to new love, and that doesn't necessarily mean new people. It certainly includes new people, but it can also be solid connections from the past that didn't work out because of the limitations that one, the other, or others put on what the relationship could or should be. And you're releasing that. You're releasing that for yourself, and you're opening up to all of the new ways that you are currently learning that elevate and expand on your emotional experiences and intelligences. So you're opening yourself up to those intuitions, sensations, resonances, uh, visions that you now recognize as a way of healing your wounds, of healing the broken stories, the broken relationships for yourself. You're not taking responsibility for others' wounds or healing. You're really understanding that no one else can be healed by you. Only you can heal yourself. And that's what's reshaping you, expanding you in a core way, in a way that allows you to recognize the world is your home. You belong anywhere that you want to be. And for many of you, this is hugely liberating, particularly from a place of feeling broken, experiencing wounding within your own life experiences and in your relationships with others. If this reading is resonating for you, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I appreciate your presence here. Thank you so much. And I'm going to clarify the Six of Cups in the past with two cards, the Six of Swords and the Five of Pentacles. Wow. So this is very, very clear that whatever you connected with in the past, no matter how sincerely you did, it was coming from a place of lack within you, a place of, I don't want to say desperation, but I want to say need, a great need to be valued, available, needed by someone else. A profound belief that others could give you something that you couldn't give yourself. And this gaping wound has everything to do with your lifestyle, the choices that you made, the sense of being rejected by others, that you couldn't find the support for what you were doing from any of the familiar places. Your family didn't get you. Many of your friends didn't get you. You might not have had a lot of friends in a particular period in your past. But you understood that a coming to terms with this was a recovery. Coming to terms with this experience of failure, heartache, hardship, lack was part of having to reach rock bottom for many of you. And this is where Saturn's resonance is really coming through, that you had to get to the bottom in order to begin to heal yourself. This is what set you off on the path to healing. So all of these broken relationships, this exclusion from a familiar community that should have been there to support you or aid you in whatever way necessary, only sealed the sense that you didn't belong, that you didn't understand why you were here and why you weren't getting the things that you believed everyone was destined to receive. And leaving this, abandoning these relationships or this illusion of love or connection was something that has set you on a very positive, powerful healing path where you're not only gaining the peace, some kind of way to remedy the situation, but you're also looking for acceptance. The situations you can recall from your past are innumerable. They keep mounting. You keep remembering things that you'd forgotten about. Someone who dissed you here, someone who hurt you there, how you didn't get chosen for this, even though you knew you were the best person. All of those stories have been mounting, because they're really coming up to show you what you've been working on in so many ways, what you've been healing, and how you're straining to see things in a new light. You're bringing new information to this situation in order to release it, to realize that is no longer a part of your reality. It's no longer a part of your story. The Sun card in the present is clarified by something flipped. The Judgment and the Knight of Cups. The Sun is the Judgment. That's really, it's interesting because there's something about going back to the past that keeps coming through here. that it isn't necessarily the past in this life. I feel like you are recovering some essential core, some essential liberation that you've achieved in other lives. For some of you, this other life was ancient, a long time ago. I wouldn't say as far as certainly millennia for many of you. But this is an experience you have achieved at another time in another place. This is reminding you that you came back to experience this in this time because you felt the world needed this information. You felt that the world in its current state needed this sense of love, the sense of joy, the sense of open-heartedness to bring back imaginative and creative play that feels so key, and to find your playmates. In the past, you were looking for playmates. And unfortunately, there were very few who were able to match your energy, your desire for this kind of liberation, this kind of joy, this kind of peace, this ability to appreciate and enjoy all of the bounty of the planet. So this is a tremendous opening up of your own heart and recognizing that you've been here before, you've done this before, but of course it's different this time. It's in a different place. You're in a different place. But the sense that you have so much to be grateful for and so much in your daily life to enjoy, to appreciate. You find joy in so much, even in the things that hurt you in the past. That is part of your temperament, to look at the upside, to look at the bright side, to laugh. Many of you are masters of laughing, and I wouldn't be surprised if many of you have actually literally done laugh camps, laugh comedy, laugh therapy, laugh groups, laugh sessions. This is healing, and you're very aware of that. Even telling a sad story in a funny way is blessed, and you're aware of that. Retelling the story in ways that are funny, that make fun of the sad sack life, the limited prospect, the idea that you can only do X, and that was the social conditioning that you were given, but you never believed it. In fact, I think many of you were born with many of the gifts that you have expanded on in this time. Some of you have lost some of those gifts, but you can remember being born with a sense of other elementals, energies being around you, that you could see others, particularly adults as well as children, as from a position of your oversoul, from a position of why you came to the planet, why you chose the family you chose, what you were here to learn. Some of you can recall that to this day, and it informs your understanding of why you're here, to grow into this kind of love and embrace of the world, this unrestricted joy and happiness. The Ace of Cups is clarified by the Tower card. I saw that earlier. And the King of Cups. Yes, the King of Cups. Yeah, you're ready for all of it. Because of this openness that you are exhibiting right now, you are like, bring it on. I am happy to escort, accompany, or hold hands with those that feel as though they're losing everything, those that are feeling the end of the world is here, those that feel sad, anxious, worried, don't know what to do, don't know what to think, that are caught in this sort of self-centered sense of uh, doom. And that is as false as the idea that there's nothing we can do. Of course there is, because you've actually manifested this breakup with your past, this breakup with relationships, opportunities that you once relied on, perhaps a job that you felt tied to, that you needed to pay the rent, to take care of your loved ones. You may have chosen or uh, lost that job as a matter of choice, because I feel many of you could have stayed around. But I do believe you are opting out of a situation where you're carrying more responsibility than you feel able to handle as you navigate a more central and more critical part of your own growth and expansion. This is really about allowing yourself to feel all the big feelings that you never felt you had time for. The opportunity to simply enjoy your garden, to not simply just be working in it, trying to nurture that harvest, spending backbreaking time weeding and fertilizing, watering, and doing things that are going to give you some kind of tangible reward. No, right now, all the reward you need is being there, observing it, enjoying it, welcoming the animals, communing with the plants, the birds. There's some bird talkers here. But all of you are open to the abundance of the world as it is, particularly in the natural world. You're rejecting institutions, constructs that have served no purpose, that no longer provide the protection or service they were supposed to offer. So this is a big breakthrough for you, big breakthrough, and it's something you have worked towards for a very long time. And I'm going to finish this with the language of flowers, and I've pulled the bird of paradise. The key word is self-acceptance. I like this. You are so much more. Isn't it a beautiful thought to think that our eternal child is the more that we are after a life, after, for some of us, decades of grown up life? Some of us had short childhoods, but that the eternal child is the self acceptance that you are embracing right now. That joy, abundance is your birthright. So thank you so much for this reading. Until next time, namaste.